Hey, I picked this up at Menards. It's a Guidesman brand, 2500 lumens LED flashlight. But hey, Cree LEDs, that's good. So why did I buy this? Well, I recently got into a new stupid hobby, Super 8. I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago. My mom visits, and of course she's like, oh, I'm gonna visit Ben and give him more stuff. This time she brought over my dad's Bell & Howell Super 8 projector. And I'm like, ah, that's great, where's the camera? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, well, it's gotta be someplace. So anyway, I figured out how the projector needed a little bit of love. It was bound up a little bit, so it needed some more lithium grease and 3-in-1 oil. But then I figured out how it worked, and I was able to watch some of the old movies. And so my mom was like, oh, your Uncle Dennis is having a 50-year wedding anniversary party. I think one of these reels has footage from the wedding. That's kind of a weird orientation. Looks like these are all in series, so it's going to be 13.5 volts. Anyway, so we find the footage. It was like one 3-minute section of like a 28-minute vacation video. So we find it. And then she's like, oh, Ben, can you magically convert this? Because obviously I can do anything. Oh, that's pretty bright. And I'm like, well, what if we just take the projector to the party and, you know, project it? And so that's what we did. But it had the original bulb still in it. And that one died. And then somehow my mom had a spare bulb from probably 40 years ago in the package still. And that one worked. But the socket was pretty roached. Like there was a lot of corrosion in the socket. And on top of that, those bulbs are only 15-hour bulbs. So I was thinking, could we make an LED replacement? So that's why I was thinking about one of these. Oh yeah, you can focus the light. Oh, that's weird. Is there some sort of dimming circuit on it? Oh, there is. See, 1, 2, 3. See, no PWM, lots of PWM. Wow, you can really see it with the rolling shutter. If you get the bulbs, new old stock, they're very expensive, like $170. There were some that were cheaper, but they're still expensive, and again, 15 hours. So I was thinking, what if I can do an LED conversion? It's on the Menards website. They have these flashlights, so 2500 lumens should be around the same brightness as the original bulb. So here's the Bell & Howell projector. I've got it taken apart. Bulb goes there. That's one of the roach slots. I was able to fix up the slot enough that it worked for the party, although it's pretty bad. So it looks like, yeah, the flashlight would fit in the space. The center of the flashlight can center on the aperture. So this one had a couple different phases. Like you would turn it on. That turns on the fan and the motor, and then you actually have to engage this to actually make it run, and then it's got an auto load feature. Oh yeah, for some reason it was on manual exposure. Well yeah, there's a guard there when the film's not running. So if we turn on the motor and we turn it to forward, oh yeah, look, that opens up the guard and it also engages the shutter. So the whole thing is like, it's like a clutch assembly. Yeah, see how there's a flywheel, so it's always running. So if we engage it, then it engages the shutter, and it also advances the film. So for you young whippersnappers out there, how a film projector or a camera works is it blocks off the frame when a full frame is out in view. So it's actually turning on and off very rapidly, which is why you see rolling shutter effects like earlier when I had that light. So yeah, so I have run the projector down here, so I have some idea of what the brightness should look like. So I'm just going to try running the light through it. Oh yeah, that definitely projects a square. And actually, it's a white light instead of yellow like the bulb. Oh yeah, that could totally work. Ooh, it's Penumbra. Remember that game? Penumbra? Remember that J.J. Abrams movie, Super 8? That was like a crappy prototype of Stranger Things. The thing that bothered me about that movie is it took place in like 1979 and nobody was smoking. Well, I think I'd like to... I mean, yeah, the lens would help us focus the light better. Try drilling out these points. Is that how they attach that? This is obviously going to be using this whole thing as a heat sink. That won't be too much of a problem with the projector because it's got that big fan there. Meh, I just said screw it and used a hacksaw. A lot of flashlights have ground going through the case. This one doesn't seem to work that way. We don't want this to move and transport. It's my custom cigar box tap set box quest thing. You will be the Fellowship of the Rings. Looks like about a 440 Imperial. There we go. Tapping ASMR. Maybe AVE could do this. Oh yeah, look right there. Look how well she chooches. Huh, maybe I should. See, I'm too lazy to laser engrave the front, so I'll just write taps. The original bulb socket, so it's oriented like this, so the bulb goes that way, the film is here. But yeah, one of these connectors, the hot connector, the one going to the switch. It's very roached. I had to bend the pins and deox it and stuff just to get it to run long enough for the anniversary party. Let's see, so... See, not everything in the past was always easy to take apart. See, this one, this is riveted in place. Well, we can still get a center point from these markings here. That would probably work. I could also bend these in. And that's probably actually more destructive than just drilling out the rivets. So what I'll do is I'll take this, I'll put it on my flatbed scanner, I'll scan it, and that'll give me the screw mounting patterns and the hole pattern there, so I'll know where the hole is. Then on the projector, I'll need to measure that hole in relation to the film gate, and that way I can figure out how to, you know, align the light. I'll probably make it so it's adjustable. Nice. Yeah, I could use some of these M3, you know, heat set things. Yeah, put those into a 3D print. Yeah, that would work. There's only 2 of them. There should be enough mass, and I could actually make these walls a little bit bigger. Yeah, so I guess the next step is replicate this in Fusion 360. All right, so it looks like this scanned pretty straight. So there's a couple things to think about with scanners. I've probably talked about this a trillion times. Just like I've probably said this a trillion times. The center of the scanner is the most accurate because there's the least spherical distortion, because there's a lens that goes into the sensor that scans horizontally. So the sensor obviously isn't the whole width of the page, so the page is optically zoomed down to the scanner. So if you are scanning things like this, make sure it's in the center, the horizontal center of the scanner. And obviously you've got some parallax here with the parts, but that's not really a big deal, because the main thing we need are the surfaces that touch the glass, and we know those all will be the right scale. So like you see this part here where it's sloping in, like in reality that obviously goes straight out, but again, you know, we scanned a real thing. We can't look at this orthographically. We have no choice but to see it with you know, perspective. I've placed the image into Adobe Illustrator. Oh, and actually, yeah, see how this is, you see straight down on this one, but you see the sides of these. I mean, that's an example right there of how the lens distortion works on the scanner. Like if you had some sort of magical scanner that had scanning pixels all the way across, then you would see everything vertically straight up, like perspective. But you only see that toward the center of the image. All right, so off camera here. I'm just going to assume this is all English. This projector, from what I can, my guess is probably from like the late 60s to early 70s. Well, actually the hole doesn't, because this is going to be smaller than the hole. It's exactly 1.45 inches. All right, so 1.45, 1.45. And it's probably going to line up to this if I had to guess. See, it's even if it doesn't visually look exactly right, since it's pretty close, it's a good bet that this screw hole lines up with the center of this opening here. Now, this part up here, actually, let me grab this screw hole here. I mean, I did the same thing here. So I measured the width of this, and I just put the screw in the center, and it looks pretty close. So instead of like trying to like wiggle it to match the image, I'm going to kind of just assume that it's centered in that part. Though again, we're talking. Oh yeah, you can see the angle of the screw hole here. So we're going to go to the entry point. And let's do something really janky. So I put some more print beef around these holes. So here's the original screw size, but we don't really need that because we're going to replace that. So I've got 4 millimeters here and 4 millimeters here. That's going to be the brass inset things. So I think we're ready to take this over to Fusion. What a stupid update thing. Look at how much time it just wasted. When I'm like old and dying, it's going to be like, well, we could have saved Ben from acute liver failure, but unfortunately he died 5 seconds before the cure was found. I don't have digital dial calipers. I have 2 pairs, so I have metric and imperial. So I have. What the heck? Where did it go? Does this count as home improvement? I suppose it does. Super 8 bulb. Wake up, computer. Maybe this computer is just like, I've had enough. I'm done. Like 516. I'll probably be printing this thing with more precision than it was made with. Brilliant. It is the most accurate thing ever designed. Okay. Now again, I don't need to draw the rivet holes because we're not using the original bulb thing. Obviously, I need to design whatever holds the bulb. So there'll probably be something here that'll have screws or something, and there'll be something that sticks up through here, and then there'll be a separate piece that holds the big old flashlight bulb here in space. But for now, I'm going to print this to make sure this fits properly, and then I'll continue my design. Looks like a pretty good match. I stuck it in the machine and did a rough line up the holes. And of course, this circle needs to be centered in the circle on the projector frame. I'm just going to double check the alignment of the holes because they're black, so it's kind of hard to see. So I'm going to take this insert thing. Hopefully it's hot enough. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, probably could have been a little hotter. I can cut these out and reuse them after my test. Like the pilgrims would have done. Alright, now we can easily see what's going on. Oh, yeah. Pretty darn close. Alright, I'm printing the parts on the Bamboo Lab X1 carbon, and it's using PETG carbon fiber filament. Turned out I had some. I'm using this for another Super 8 related project, also involving bulbs. So this is probably the most temperature resistant filament that I have in my house. So hopefully it works. Again, the fan on that projector throws a lot of air up past the bulb, so we should be okay. Although, yes. Here are the parts. Yahoo! Okay, let's need 2 for this. Then 2 for this. And then 3 for this. Oh no, I've used up almost all of these. Okay, so this go. Okay, so in the projector, so this goes there, and this. So I'll have to attach this in a couple different steps. So this goes in here. Yeah. So you'll attach the bulb to this by screwing in from the back. So this part here needs 2 insets. Let's hook them up to the cooker. Some people make like little drill press rigs for this, but I'm just going to shotgun it. These are all M3. I've got quite a few M3 screws, even though I'm an American. Oh no, it's one of them, those European screws. Yeah, I suppose when you release it, the plastic would probably contract back in a little bit and push it up, so I guess it's probably a good idea to go a little bit further than you think you need to. Alright, so there's that piece, and then this also needs 2 receivers. Yeah, these threaded things are kind of cool. I mean, yeah, you can just use regular screws, but this is fancier. I need to make it look like I tried. When you design stuff like this, you want the leading screw hole to be a little bit wider than the diameter, so I made it 3.5 millimeters. The reason you do that is because you don't want to like have the threads engaged before they actually get to the brass piece. All right, so this one, the third one is on this tool. Okay, so we need 2 in the front for the center panel interface. That's one way of doing it. I'm all out of love, so lost without you. No. I was watching Deadpool clips. I didn't realize. Oh wait, that's a spoiler warning. Okay. Yes. I heard there was a really cool cameo in the new Deadpool movie, but I haven't seen it yet, so I didn't realize that cameo was in it. Okay, I think these are 16 millimeters. I'm going to put the screw on the outside so people can see that I did it. Attention to detail brag. That's kind of a tighter fit than the other material was. I guess it is a different material. This might not close all the way. It almost looks like a real product. Except for the fact it's not closing all the way. That's what vices are for. Oh yeah, baby. Oh. Oh, of course the air conditioner turns on as soon as I start recording, because why wouldn't it? Alright, so this guy goes like this. Yes, okay. I've been present for the birth of every creature on this island. If you're wondering what that hole is for, this is what it was for. Arnold Schwarzenegger should come up and say, "Don't quit your day job." You know, I rewatched Last Action Hero a few years ago. So I'd heard it had become like some sort of like subversive cult classic, and you know, I kind of liked it when I was a teenager, but it's not a very good movie. Charles Dance is always great. See, I like Charles Dance before it was cool. He was like in Last Action Hero and Alien 3. It's a movie that's not as bad as people say it is. Yeah, that's right, there's a new Alien movie coming out. The tagline should be, "In space, no one can hear you, don't breathe." Because it's from the director of Don't Breathe. Yeah, I thought Don't Breathe was a pretty clever movie. I mean, it wasn't the greatest movie, but I liked how it used its setting of Detroit to fix like some of the horror tropes, like why you can't get out of the house and stuff, and why there's no police. So anyway, there's a little part right here I had to make sure that I bend the wires into. Well, poop, I made a mistake. There's not enough, see, this goes right up to this plate, which means there's not enough room for these wires to bend. So I've either got to like cut a slot there or put the wires through here, although that's what holds the lid in place. Well, shoot, I thought I was being so clever. Then I wasn't. Probably just be easier just to drill a hole. It took more finagling than I would have liked, but I got it all installed. This is turning into another one of those forever projects. Well, I took some readings off the original flashlight, and I tried a couple different things, and I got this. This is a XL4015 constant current DC buck converter. So I've got like this, looks like it's from like a cable equipment, like a 3 amp 12 volt power supply going into this guy. And I've got this at 5.3 volts. And then if I switch to current, stop beeping. Oh, it didn't even get a chance to beep in protest. Current 1.5 amps. Okay. That's should be, well, that's the same thing I read off the flashlight itself. So yeah, I'm able to up the current a little bit. I have to get this bulb working so I can watch 70s movies where everyone looks like it's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All right. You're Dr. Eric Vornoff. You've worked very hard on this experiment. You don't want to see it fail. No, you're not that upset. Let's see. Eyes on the left. Well, that's just going to be the shut-off current, so that's not really going to change. Yeah, I could probably maybe tweak the voltage up just a little bit. Okay, this guy at 2 o'clock. Yeah, because I think this thing limits the current, but doesn't actually set the current. So I think it's like 1.5 amps should be enough. And then I think the voltage is maybe up to about 6 volts. Let's see. Go back to voltage. Yeah, just watch this footage of darkness. Look, I can be my own shutter. Oh, that's just 5.4. Oh, I didn't even increase the voltage that much. So get up to about 5.8. It doesn't really change anymore. Yeah, I'll go 5.8 volts, 1.5 amps. And you know what? If it blows up, I'll just go buy another crappy flashlight at Menards. Well, wait a minute. This was a nice quality flashlight. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Da, 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 da. Oh, look, a lawyer. Okay, got the classic movie Old Cars primed up. Let's turn on the light. There we go. Oh yeah, the shutter is closed. All right, so, oh, right. On. Yes, kids, this is what the 70s was actually like. There were cars from the 30s everywhere, and you couldn't afford the oil to put into them. Whoa, those two holes line up. It was meant to be. Beauty. I might have to go to Menards to get some self-tapping screws. This looks a little too wide for like computer case screws. I guess I could try it though. Yeah, if I'm gonna do it, I might as well do it right. Yeah, my dad was a mechanic, and if heaven exists, or in a simulation or whatever, and he'd be like, oh, he's putting wood screws into aluminum instead of threading it? You know, like, his head would explode, I assume. Although he would be proud that I keep his toolbox 100% American steel. I think I have some size 8s out in the garage. Oh, of course.
Teddy told me that in Greek, nostalgia literally means the pain from an old wound. It's a twinge in your heart, far more powerful than memory alone. This device isn't a spaceship. It's a time machine. It goes backwards, forwards. It takes us to a place where we ache to go again. It's not called the wheel. called the carousel. It lets us travel the way a child travels. Round and around, and back home again. The place where we know we are loved.